War veteran Ray Mendoza teams up with Alex Garland to give us Warfare, a heavy-hitting war film that is presented in real time, all by memory and testimonies by Ray and his platoon members, and oh my goodness. So in this 1 hour and 35 minutes retelling of a combat and evac situation in the Iraq War, we see a group of young guys having a blast. No pun intended. You can tell that not all of them know the spoils of war for the most part. They then break into two teams, Alpha 1 and Alpha 2. Warfare follows Alpha 1. They find a house to do recon, and that's probably one of the most triggering moments for me in the film, because the house is occupied by two families and they're woken up by a military force telling them to get into a room so their house could be used. But once they found the vantage point, that's when Alpha 1 started doing the recon, and everything went downhill from there. A grenade was tossed by the other side, and from there it was straight tension up until the end credits. What I love about Alex Garland's films is that they are very intentional and they're not made just to fill in seats and create a profit. And just looking at his last two films alone, starting with last year's Civil War, a film that provided an outcome that could come to light should certain variables play out in a very specific way. There was no glorification of a war between states, but instead a very tension building warning. And now Warfare, a film that does the complete opposite of promoting war. To put it simply, Warfare was perfectly timed given the current scope of our world state. The guys in this film went from partying to watching their brothers lay helplessly after an IED sets off. And that being said, that was only Alpha 1 that dealt with that. Alpha 2 didn't even have to worry about a darn thing, and I thought that was a very important detail to add because it highlights two specific stories for war. The stories of glory, celebration, and fighting for your country, and war not being as bad as what the other stories are. Destruction, losing your friends, your family, having to see them 1 second intact and the next they're completely gone. The PTSD, the critical injuries, the fear of not knowing if you'll be able to see your family after the conflict. Warfare was filmed in such a way that every person that I was in the theater with left in silence, not because it was bad, but because it was thought-provoking and quite triggering. But yeah, this is definitely one of the most intense movies that I've seen this year, and Alex Garland is proving to be one of the better directors of our current time. And yeah, that's about it.